Beyond bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises. It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes. Glance towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome back to another edition of On the Other Side with me, Ryan Hildred from Rovers Chat. It was a great second half performance from Rovers last time out as we ran out 2-0 winners against Hull City. And it's another Yorkshire opponent tomorrow afternoon, this time on the road as we travel to Oakwell to face Barnsley. And tonight, as you can see, it's the return of the man, the myth, the legend. It is Andy Simcox from the Red All Over podcast. How are you doing, Andy?
We speak again, Mr. Hildred. It seems like it was only yesterday. In fact, it was yesterday.
That's right. And that was just such a good tonic, a 15-minute blast of Mr. Simcox on your show yesterday after a hard day at work. What more can you want? So
it wasn't fair on you, Ryan. It wasn't fair. You were people have loved it. I don't know if you've seen any of the comments. If you get a chance, have a look at some of the comments on the show that's gone up at tea time today. They've absolutely loved you being on the show. I think it's a great idea. I know you've been doing it for quite a while, and they really have liked it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
There've been some comments by your backroom staff. I'm going to call them your backroom staff, no matter anything else. Your mate Joe Harvey, he's get flipping it. I'm meeting him tomorrow. Well, I'll see him tomorrow. He says, I'm praising Silent Dan for all the graphics and all the back. And he says, I think you'll find it's not Silent Dan. You'll find it's Joe Harvey that's doing it. So obviously, because it's written down, I'm saying, I apologise, Joe. I'll try and put the record straight. Well, I lied to him. I think Silent Dan's the kiddie. Joe Harvey, get your send off to Hearts. Go on, get your send off. Just because you're great at analysis and analytics and all that, get your son off if that's how you're going to be. Well, tomorrow comes. Bless him. Bless him.
I love it. Oh God! But no, on a serious note, we're really made up for Joe as he's off to do some good work for Hearts, and I know Andy, you're wishing him well as well.
Oh yeah.
So Rovers fans watching, as I can see, there are some of you. Andy, everyone's already loving you on the show. There you go, the legend Andy Simcox. Absolutely love this guy. Welcome back, Andy. There we go.
I think you'll find that's absolutely accurate.
Rovers fans watching, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not. Please give this video a like. If you're going to like any video, you've got to like the videos that have got Andy Simcox on them. So please give this video a like. And just a reminder, we have got Super Chat available as always. And we are sponsored by Blue Rose Capital and 6yardsout.com. So, Andy, let's get on to the football then. I don't want to remind you about this for too long, but I do just want to talk about last season, if I can for a moment. Nearly a fairy tale for Barnsley. You made it to the playoffs. In the end, obviously, it was defeat in the semi-finals, but very much Barnsley re-establishing themselves as a very decent championship side. For the majority of those games last season, though, you couldn't go. So how was that to have a season like that when you couldn't be there to enjoy it?
It was, oh, crikey. It was incredible. Thank goodness for I follow, which is not something that you often hear. But, it was a great season. Just so incredibly frustrating. What made it worse for me is that when we got to the playoff semis, the home match against Swansea, some fans were allowed back in, and I could have gone. They had a raffle to, pull out a hat to see who could go. I was away on flipping holiday because I'm not going, so it don't, there weren't going to be fans, so it didn't matter. So we were in Anglesey, so I'm watching it in Anglesey. I'm watching it in a Wales pub, surrounded by Welsh people, wearing my Barnsley shirt, and so I think it's fair to say there were a bit of banter. Even worse in the second leg. It all got a little bit. I'll not go on about it, Ryan, too much, but it all got a little bit surreal. The second leg against Swansea, again, I'm in the same pub, the California pub near Benlech in Anglesey, and they were great. The staff there were absolutely superb. They let me set my laptop up, they put it on the screen, on the televisions for me. And, there were quite a few people there. So we watched it. And, of course, as soon as the final whistle went, I got my laptop out and we were going to do an instant reaction Red All Over show. Next to me, there's an Everton fan, and he's giving me some stick. He's my age. He's giving me some stick about, hey, you've lost. And so I'm saying, well, you know all about it, supporting Everton. You know what it's like. So I'm sat there, and I've got the screen up like we have now. I've got the screen up. And as soon as the match has finished, it flicked off the match straight to Eurovision. The Eurovision on. So I'm trying to have this conversation in a pub with all these Welsh people. With Europe, and we'd lost. It were all a little bit bizarre for me, but it were such a shame for us. And in honesty, we didn't do ourselves justice in the semi-final. I think it could have been a couple of games too far. I think we didn't do bad in the second one, but we lost it really in the first one. And, good luck to Swansea. I mean, they didn't go up, obviously, with Brentford. And I was pleased Brentford went up because, they've got Ethan Pinnock, one of our old players there. So I was really, really pleased for him because the Barnsley fans thought the world of Ethan Pinnock. So really glad he got promoted. Just a shame. It had been really nice. And of course, because of it, I'm assuming, if we'd have gone up, things could have been very different. But it's changed. We've had a change. We've had lots of changes. We've had a change of chief executive, a change of manager, head coach. He's taken about 3 staff with him. So it were a CEO went. So we've had a big change, from last season, and we'll get on with it and we'll come back. We'll come back all right. I don't think we're a bad side. We're not doing great at times at the minute, but we'll come back and we'll be all right.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned change and you mentioned Brentford as well. And we did speak about this last season, Andy, when you're on the show. Barnsley have got this fascinating model where you've got this clear structure and plan off the pitch, and maybe similar to Watford, who have gone through a lot of managers. You've had 6 managers in 3 years, but they all fit into this structure that you've got set up there. And obviously Ishmael last season had a brilliant season. So as a fan, how easy is it to sign up to that as a kind of structure? And you just accept that you're going to go through managers and you're going to get unknown quantities. How is that as a fan?
I think, if I'm honest, as a group of fans, we've got used to it. I've certainly got used to it. And I'm glad that we're doing it in a certain way. I think Marcus Schopp has brought certain changes in that will come to fruition in time, but we talk about that in a bit. But you do get used to it. I mean, the pandemic made a huge difference that we, like a lot of clubs, lost money because of it, and times were tight. But because we've been run properly, I think financially properly, we've got through it okay. And I think all Barnsley fans are quite happy that we've not, what shall we say, overspent like I'm assuming some clubs have and get themselves into financial trouble. We've not done that. And it was hard early on because we got promotion, then we got relegation, then promotion again. So it's difficult sometimes, but I think on the whole, we're quite pleased. Well, not just quite pleased, very pleased that as the pandemic showed, that we've got a scheme and a plan that's working for us and will continue to work. And like we're signing young players. We hardly have anybody on loan. That's not been something that we've done a great deal over the last 3 seasons. We've got a couple on loan as it stands at the minute, one with an option to buy and one not. So it's not a regular thing, and we tend, as you know, to get, as Rovers this season, we tend to have very, very young players that have got something about them and could go far, but young players. And it's going to keep changing. We've got some players that are coming in, some that aren't quite started yet, that are supposedly, because I've not seen them, so I don't know, real quality players that, like the manager, will be putting themselves in the shop window as well as anything else, that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to afford them. So, it's a decent model. It'll keep us going. Other clubs are getting point deductions for financial issues and problems, and I can't see that happening to us. We had it many, many years ago, and it was dreadful for the people that remember us going into administration many, many years ago. It was an awful time. We had 14 months of it, an awful time. Never want to see that again. And I don't think we will, because I think we're running it well. We've got owners that have got a lot of money, but they've said right from the start they're not going to throw stupid money at it. It's their money, but they're running on a decent model. And truthfully to them, they have. So, glad for it. Really glad for it.
Yeah, and it means a lot at championship level. No coincidence that he came sixth last season. Just look at, Derby County reportedly in administration now. Rovers, we've got hundreds of millions of pounds of debt. No coincidence. So Barnsley are doing it the right way. And do you know what? I've often thought this. One thing going up, but you've got to go up and stay up. So you've got to do it in a sustainable way, haven't you? Yeah. So let's talk about the manager then, Andy. So you've just mentioned him. He's an Austrian, Marcus Schopp. So what is the early verdict on him so far?
It's a bit difficult having an early verdict on him, because as it stands now, we've got 8 injuries, 5 of which I would say would definitely be starters. We've got, as you know, we play with a back 3. 2 of them are either, one's injured and one's suspended. Anderson and Kitchen, who'll probably be playing, are both injured. So the defence is different. We've got Apo Halm, who comes in sometimes. He's a decent player. And young Jasper Moon, who's come through the academy. So they're decent players, but they wouldn't normally start at the side of those other 2, at the side of Michael Hellig. And similarly, we've signed Obi Ulari, who is one big unit, but we've not seen him play because we had all sorts of visa issues, him coming over. He's been carrying a knock. He's getting close to it. Aaron Iseka, he's just started playing. He started against Stoke the other night. But we had the visa issues with him. And now he's, so they're behind the times, if you like. We've got players off from COVID. Josh Benson we got from Burnley, who's a cracking player. It's only a young lad, but what a player he is going to be. And he's got COVID, so he's missing your match. He'll be back after that, but he'll be missing the match against your good selves. So you look, I'm going to say, you look at it in that respect. And from what we've been hearing, I don't know how true it is, but the other central midfield player that's been playing, Ramal Palmer, as a doubt for tomorrow's match. So that'll be a shame. So I think it's 8 injuries. It might even, if Ramal don't make it, it'll be 9. So it's a scratch team, which is all the more that we did. We got a good result against Stoke. Although I have to say, our goalkeeper got us a good result. Great free kick.
Oh, he made some brilliant saves, didn't he?
By Corley Woodrow, but some great saves by Brad Collins. He kept us in it. So it'll be a good game tomorrow. I don't think we'll lie down like we did against Bournemouth. We didn't do very well against Bournemouth. But it's a scratch side. So if there's ever a time to play Barnsley this season for yourselves, I'd say now's a good time, because we're waiting for the good times to come along. It's patience at this minute, because we know that there's good players that are on the way but aren't there yet. So, and that's absolutely no disrespect to the players that are currently playing, because they're doing the best, and they're trying hard, and you can't ask for much more. They're young lads, they're going to grow into it. So,
that's right. I've been drawn to a couple of comments. FM, as ever, with the donation, $17.99 super chat. Thank you, FM. And I met Danny at the at Ewood Park on Tuesday. That's been one of the benefits of coming out of the pandemic, Andy. I'm getting to see some of the Rovers fans in person, and that's great. So I sat next to Danny at Ewood on Tuesday. So thank you for that, mate. And then your man Joe, he's come out of the woodwork here, Andy. Joe Harvey. We have got a show directly after this one, so Joe's plugging our Friday Night Live show. But he's watching. And Joe, if you didn't catch the start of the show, you might just want to rewind to like minute 1 or 2, because Andy did give you a shout out, Joe, if you just want to look out for that. So,
if he's watching it now, as well as giving a shout out, he needs to wind his neck in a bit as well. But I'm not sitting here and listening to him have a dig at Silent Dan. Silent Dan is my hero. He's spread all over hero now, Silent Dan. So I'm not having somebody that's begging off up to flipping hearts starting to Silent Dan some stick. He needs to wind his neck in. Set Silent Dan on him. Get him to sort it. Anyway.
Oh, brilliant. And just back onto Barnsley, Andy.
Cadra hat trick. Cadra hat trick. Are they having a laugh? Actually, it might be true. Might happen.
He did look good when he came on, but I don't think he'll be playing 90 minutes to score a hat-trick. But we'll see. We'll see. Andy, last season, Barnsley and Ismail got, loads of attention because of this low possession, getting the ball up the field early and pressing those high areas. He's doing that really well with West Brom now as well. Has there been a change in style for Barnsley under Shop? What's he brought that's different to Ismail?
Yeah, there is. I mean, we only get managers and coaches, head coaches, aren't they? To follow the same pattern. So we want a high press. Obviously, there's some players that, like I've said already, aren't playing, so that sometimes makes it a little bit difficult. The other thing that's made a difference to us this season, I'll go on back about Marcus in a minute. As we have to remember that there are only 3 substitutions each match. Last year, when Valerian was the manager, there were 5. So irregularly, as you know, at about 55, 60 minutes, replace the whole of the front 3 with fresh players so that the press could continue for 90 minutes. That's clearly not possible if you've only got 3 substitutions. And if you've got a lot of injuries as well. One of the things, and I think to some people the jury's still out, and it will be out because we said we'd give him, you always give somebody at least 10 matches or maybe a bit more now because of the injuries. We started having a bit more possession. We started passing it better, which I like the passing, but that don't mean that we don't get it forward. One thing that we do that I'm glad I've got blood pressure tablets because we've started going back to sometimes, fortunately not all the time, playing it out from the back to a centre half who stood next to him, next to the goalie. That's for me and a number of people, but certainly for me, that's not great. You're going like that, thinking, "Please clear it, please clear it." It does draw players, teams towards you, so create space behind them. So I appreciate that. One of the things we haven't got until Iseka has come, like I said, started on against Stoke. We haven't got a massive amount of height for long, for long goal kicks. So we've got to, mix it up a little bit. So it's a bit, it is different. I don't think we're pressing quite as hard as we did last season, and we're passing it better. We're not just. Sometimes last season I got frustrated, even though it was successful, that we were clogging it up down, into the corners. Yeah, I chased that, and that's sometimes not great to watch. There were times last season, like this season, when we pass it and it looks really good and intricate, and I think it looks pretty clear that Marcus Shop is trying to do that more, and so good. We get more possession, but it's got. Like with every team, there's no point in having possession if you're not going to make use of it. No, I've seen too many matches, some of the international matches you can watch and some of the Spanish matches, Barcelona, passing it across the back and then and getting nowhere. And you think, for goodness sake, at least make an attempt to try and score a goal. So it needs to be mixed up. And I think we're going to start getting it right. It's bit by bit, but we've had good and bad games, but we've hardly been able to play the same team because of the injuries and suspensions and COVID and what have you. So hopefully it'll start settling down and we can get back to a proper sense of who's going to be playing.
Definitely. In terms of just this season as well, Andy, it really early on, for most clubs, it's hard to really generate any detailed stats or whatever. But one that just stood out, and I'm hoping that you can answer it for me. Just found this one. So this is attacks down the right-hand side. And Barnsley, this is the championship most, with 45% down the right-hand side. Compared to your left-hand side, it's 29%, which is actually the lowest. So who's causing problems down that right-hand side? Who's playing well for Barnsley? Who should Rovers be watching out for?
That's a great stat.
I know. It stood out.
Is it Joe Harvey stat or a Silent Dan stat?
It's a Silent Dan graphic and a Ryan Hildred stat.
Oh, well, then Joe Harvey's got no to do with it, then, has he? Then the show will go from strength to strength without him, won't it? Actually, I'm well done, Silent Dan. I'm proud. I can't wait to meet him tomorrow. Can't wait. What a star he is. We're all going to check his hands. Anyway, we might try and, you heard yesterday, we'll try and poach him. Oh, can't see that happening. Anyway, It's funny, isn't it? I'd not seen that stat before, and it's strange because we've had a few different people out on the right. There's been a few times, and people get frustrated because we've had left backs on the right hand side, we've had Freezer on the right hand side. It's all a bit. It surprises me. I think, if I'm honest, if I had to guess, and I don't know because it's the first time I've seen it. Usually, wide on the right, at right wing back, we've got Callum Britton, and Callum Britton gets up and down the pitch really, really well. On the other side, we've got Callum Styles, who's a central midfield player that plays out there, or and people have different views about Callum Styles, whether he should be in the middle. It'd be nice to clone him and have him in the middle and a left wing back. But when Callum gets he tends to come in a little bit. So although he does go down the wing, he tends to come in a bit. So I'm not surprised, if I think about it, I'm not surprised with Callum Britton marauding up and down the right-hand side, that's the case. I think you might find it be different to much. It all depends how we set up tomorrow because of the injuries and suspensions and what have you. Against Stoke, Callum Britton played in the central midfield and he's essentially a right back come right wing back, but he played in the central midfield and did well. So I won't be at all surprised if he plays there again. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I can only put it down, particularly to Callum Britton. We've had Clark Adoa, who's a tricky player. He's actually not a wing back, but we all thought he were a left wing back, and he's not. He's an attacking player, and he's been playing out wide on the right for a number of the games. And he's some people would say he's lightweight. I won't quite say he's lightweight. He's skillful on the ball. He's not the big brush and that I'm going to head this ball and I'm going to barge my way through. He's a skillful player. So he has had a lot of the ball as well. So between him and Callum Britton, I would suggest it's probably more to do with that. But I don't know really.
No, I think that's fair, Andy. The only reason I presented it is just you were the bottom, 29% down the left. So it was a real big discrepancy. So it's just an interesting one.
One of the things the comments on our show by one of our regular viewers, Biker Tyke, I'd said, I'm coming on live and goodness, what could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong if I'm live and I can't be edited? And he said, I said, Ryan often sends me a curveball and quotes a stat to me. And he said, if worst comes to worst, don't worry about it. Just call them all wrong uns. Just say you're all wrong uns and kick off a little bit and it'll all be all right. So,
we ain't wrong uns. We aren't really that. That's why you can't say it. No. Just before we move on to talk about the game, Andy, I've got another silent Dan graphic for you here. So this is the youngest average age Barnsley, over on the very left of that graph there, next to Bournemouth and then Rovers. So the youngest average age squad in the Championship. Do you think Barnsley will get to a position, you mentioned there's not many loans, but do you think you might get to a position where you might start selling off some of these youngsters to generate cash, to keep building and building and building, someone like Callum Styles, and maybe do what Brentford have done, really get that model of getting the youngsters in, selling them on, etc. Is that something you're going to aim for, do you think?
I think it's always possible, isn't it? I mean, for every club, there's always a bigger fish, isn't there? Whoever you are, there's always somebody bigger. So it could happen. We've tended to get players on long contracts. If they're on a 3-year contract, we've been classing that as quite a short contract. A lot have been put on 4-year contracts. And some of that will be for a sell-on clause. If players do really, really well, then they could well move on to bigger and better things. And to be honest, if some of them, and I'll say people like Callum Styles, or maybe, and I hope he don't leave, and I hope Michael Helik at the centre of our defence, who's now a Polish international, I hope he doesn't leave. But if they go like Ethan Pinnock, or if they finish up in the Premier League, then they're going to go with our blessing, aren't they? It gets frustrating if they go to a rival that you think, well, they're about on a par with us. They might be offering more money, and there's reasons why they are offering more money. That sometimes they've got more money, more fans. Sometimes, they're putting themselves into debt. Who knows? That is frustrating for me. If they're going to bigger clubs, I think it's part of their journeys and their career as footballers. And I think well done and get on with him. Nobody's irreplaceable except for Alan Smith. I read all over show. He's not replaceable, bless him.
He's just popped up actually on the comments, Andy. Just as you said that. There you go. Evening, my friend of 60 years. There he is.
Oh, I'm not kidding. I'm not.
No,
kidding.
But
I can't get away from him. Even when I come to you, I can't get away from Smith.
You are right, though, Andy. We've just lost Adam Armstrong, obviously, which I know you're really pleased about. But had he ended up at someone like Fulham, I think that would have just been much tougher to take than him now ending up at Southampton in the Premier League, etc. So totally get that.
Well, we had Adam on loan for us when he was.
You did, yeah.
And Barnsley fans loved him, and always don't want him to score against us, which he inevitably did, because he's a real quality player. And like you did last night, we wish him all the success for him. And you don't want to stand in somebody's way who's going to go up and do something like that. Good luck to him. I hope he continues.
Absolutely. So, Andy, before we came live, we did ask you for your predicted 11, albeit you are struggling for injuries. This is the side that you've gone for in that 3-4-3 formation that you did speak about earlier. So do you want to just talk us through this side, who's going to cause Rovers some problems, and then where might Rovers hurt you tomorrow?
I thought about this really deeply, Ryan, and
I know what's coming.
went for the team that played against Stoke. It seemed to be the most likely. We play 3-4-3. So we've got Brad Collins, who was incredible. I hope to goodness he don't have to do the same sort of thing against yourselves tomorrow. But if he has to, I hope he does do the same tomorrow. And then across the back, we've got Michael Hellick in the centre of defence, with Apo Halm on one side, usually on the right, and Jasper Moon as a young lad on the left. And there, Neil said, they can be good at. Toby Sibic, who's been playing at the back until we had even more injuries, he moved to right wing back, and he's usually centre back, like I say, which allowed Callum Britton to go into the centre midfield, and he did well alongside Romal Palmer in the centre midfield. Well, like I say, is a doubt, so it might be Gomez that comes in that we've got on loan, the one loan player that's not a loan to buy, that we got from Man City, and he's going to be some player, Claudio Gomez. Watch for him. He's going to be some player. He's only, I think he's about 21, player and a half him. And then wide on the left wing back, we've got Callum Styles, like I say, can drift in. Across the front, and they're interchangeable, whether they're sort of central or one on the right, one on the left. We've got Coley Woodrow, who's the captain, Dominic Frieser and Aaron Iseka, who's just started his first match. He's the one that had, or one of the ones that had lots of visa problems. So he weren't able to train with the squad, and it took time for him to get in. And I think he's going to be a really, really good player for us. But them three are interchangeable. I think I upset Coley Woodrow because he made a comment on Twitter that I'd said he couldn't hit a barn door. When he were lining up for the free kick, I'm shouting at the telly to leave it to Callum Styles because his free kicks aren't been great. He was playing really well and all, Coley, and then he made an absolute idiot of me by scoring a stunning goal. Made me look the fool I am. And of course, Joe, in trying to sell the show on Twitter, only put the first bit in about barn door, but didn't say anything about me saying he's made the complete fool out of me that I obviously am. And poor Coley said, "I've scored 51 goals. How's that? I would have scored 51 if I didn't hit a barn door. Couldn't hit a barn door." So he's watched the whole show now, Coley. Bless him. And we think the world of Coley Woodrow. So I want to upset him. And he's accepted that it were banter rather than me saying that it were rubbish. So we're all good. Yeah. So that's how it'll. I think that's how we'll be. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with this? But I suspect that'll be the same team.
Yeah. And if we were to, where can Rovers exploit Barnsley tomorrow? You've spoken about the injuries, of course, which, it's a weakened side in many respects. But where can we have some joy? Is it set pieces? Is it pacing behind? Where can we hurt you?
You really think I'm going to tell you? Is Tony Mowbray watching?
I forgot I was talking to Marcus Shop.
Oh, dear me, I don't know. I'll tell you what you don't have to fear from us. Somebody going down in the penalty area. Like, have you ever met Tumble Down Ted on our show?
No.
I'll show him. Hold on. He's famous on our show. Him Tumble Down Ted. He always seems to play for the opposition, right? Always. So there were one of these playing for Stoke the other night. Bogs into area, and down he goes like a good one. There's a few.
That was a terrible decision.
There's a few Tumble Down. We have a competition each year. Who's the Tumble Down Ted of the year? Because it's him. So in a bit, I'm going to ask you who's your team's Tumble Down Ted this season. Who are we to watch for to go down to the penalty area like he's been shot? Who would that be?
I don't know. Rovers fans help me out, but I think if someone was to go down in the box, I think it would be Brereton. If I was to think of our team, Brereton or maybe Travis, because Travis has got a bit of shithousery in his game. I could see him maybe 90th minute. It's 0-0, trying to buy one. Travis or Brio for me. Let us know, Rovers fans, what you think to Andy's question.
Well, he features regularly on our show, Tumble Down Ted. So.
Love that.
There were a few last season. There were a top 5 last season. So, and they weren't to Rovers. Well, you asked me a question. I forgot what it was since I banged on about Tumble. Oh, our weaknesses. It's a bit strange really because until Apo Halm's good in the air at the back, and he's not been playing until Stoke. I think we've been a bit suspect in the air, which is very strange because last season we were like a powerhouse in the air, either for corners for us, we were getting on the end of things, or defensively, we were getting balls away. We've not been as robust. Robust is probably not the right word. Not been quite as commanding, if you like, in the air. So for corners and free kicks, there's been a few times over these first 7 matches where the opposing team have won the ball in the air. I'm not saying they've scored all the time, because but that's not great. There's been times, particularly down our left side, it could be either side, but particularly defensively, down our left side, a ball between the centre-back on the left-hand side and the left wing-back. There's sometimes been room to exploit that. But I think most teams, I think some of that is about the formation, the swings and roundabouts with all formations. And that's certainly been a bit of a problem for us, getting down the wings and getting a ball across for us then to cut out. And that certainly, if you saw it, that certainly happened with Stoke's goal on Wednesday night. And that could happen. I would say they're our main weaknesses. So,
well, we've got Mr. Daniel Ayala in form at the moment from attacking corners for us. So maybe Daniel Ayala for a set piece, maybe Darragh Lenihan. Andy, before we close off this show, our tumble down Teds are Joe has gone for Brereton and Dolan. There's more votes for Tyrese Dolan. Dolan's getting a lot of airtime here. Another Brereton there, and then Darragh loves a fake as well. So I think the winner is Tyrese Dolan, is our tumble down Ted at Rovers. Sorry, Ty, but the people have spoken.
And here he is.
Oh, I love it. Right, so we've reached a part of the show, Andy. We're going to put ourselves on the spot and get our score predictions. Rovers fans, load those comments up and let me know what you think about the game. What sort of game are you expecting? What do you think the score will be? Andy, going to start with you. Score prediction. What do you think the game's going to be like?
As you know, we've got a scratch side, so it's a bit of a worry. And, I could see, I don't know about somebody getting an hat-trick. You're doing really well, 12 points, only one defeat, and it were against a good side. 3 wins and 3 draws. So all the money is on you coming to Oakwell and getting a really good result and getting it really, really good. So with that in mind, I've got no choice really. I know you know, but they don't know, do they? I've no real choice. Us a scratch side, you're top of your game and playing, scoring for fun. So it can only be Barnsley 2, Blackburn 1.
You never fail to deliver, Andy. I reckon this is. I'm really looking forward to this game because I'm quite fascinated. 2 young sides going for each other a bit. I think there's going to be a bit of naivety. Maybe we're not going to sit in on each other. I can see it being really high tempo and just a bit of a ding dong battle. So I'm going to go for 2-2. 2-2. I think it's going to be a tough game.
Oh, don't be a chicken. Oh, you sound. Do you know? I got high hopes for you, Ryan. On our show, we've got Joe Beardsall, your equivalent, and he goes, "Oh, I think it might be close. I think it might be 1-1. Oh, I think it might be." Come on, have some grit.
Right,
It's Lancashire against Yorkshire. Come on, Lancashire against Yorkshire. You can't be going. Oh, I think it might be a draw.
You baited me. 2-1 Rovers. You baited me. 2-1.
If it's 1-1 now, you're 2-2. You'll play hell up.
I know exactly. I will. I'll be messaging you straight away. I bloody told you.
Don't be swayed, Ryan. You stick to your guns, Ryan. If you think it's going to be 2-2, you'll go 2-2. And as Biker Tiger says, you'll be a wrong'un. What sort of host of a show would you be saying? Oh, it's going to be 2-2. Come on. 2-1.
2-1 Rovers. You baited.
It's not like you're saying it's going to be 10-0, is it? It's 2-1. It's not like we're going to set it alight, is it? I do agree that I think it'll be an open game with a bit of naivety. There'll be, as the game goes on, there'll be some open spaces, and I think it'll be a very open game. So it'll be interesting to watch. I'm sure it will. It'll be 0-0 now.
I'm going 2-1 now. I was respecting you, and I'm changing it to 2-1 now, not 2-1. There we go.
Right, I've influenced you again, Mr. I don't dread.
Right, who was first in these predictions? It was El Scotty has gone 2-1 Rovers.
Get over it.
Dizzy 3-1 Rovers.
Dizzy.
3-1 Rovers.
With a name like Dizzy, what do you expect?
Hey, Dizzy, got a lot of respect for Dizzy. He lives down in Australia, down in Tasmania. He tunes into our show at
good lad.
What will be stupid o'clock for him. So we love Dizzy. He's a good lad. Tony.
Tony. Sorry. Tony Carlson's our Barnsley fan from Sweden. He's been on our show. He's always a star, Tony. He's a star.
Love it. M Outlaw 2-1 Rovers. Mick 2-2. Alexander 3-1 Rovers. FM 2-1 Rovers.
Hold on. FM says 2-1 Rovers. He was saying that guy was going to get a hat trick. What's he going to do? Score a goal for us as well?
To be fair, Danny, he's called you out there, Danny, and you did a super chat on the basis of a Cadra hat trick.
Give his head a wobble. FM works.
Andy Sharp. You are sharp. I'd totally forgot.
Like that. It's my age. I'm still young. I'm young.
Here we go. Good game. 28-21 Rovers. Yank scores.
That's what I like to see. That's the sort of
in America for us.
Do you know what I always don't understand, Ryan? Is that when we've done it when you get to younguns, you could think what to a little one, a 5 and 6 year old, like my grandson. You'll see my grandson Noah tomorrow. He's 7. He's just 7. I said, "What?" I said to him, "What do you think?" He says, "I think Barnsley will win 2-1." When I was 7, we were going to win 10-0.
Yeah.
I think we might scrape a win. If you can't say 10-0 when you're 7. When can you say it? Anyway. Yeah, so 28-21. That sounds like a right game.
Oh, that'd be mint, wouldn't it? Autumn 2-0 Rovers. Alan, he's backing you. There we go. 3-1 Tarn. Yeah. What does Tarn mean?
And I'll tell you what, he's forgotten more than you know, Ryan Hildred. I'll tell you that. He's forgotten. Good old Smithy.
And then Benjamin, 2-1 Rovers. Daddy. Andy, you scared me a bit. Reason for taking a goal off. Oh, that's it. So, yeah, a bit of positivity in the Rovers fans there. And then your Barnsley fans doing you proud, Andy, and backing Barnsley there as well. But no, on a serious note, thank you for joining us tonight, Andy. You are a great friend of the show. People absolutely...
I love your show. I always watch it, Ryan. I always watch it. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. If not live, I always watch the when it's recorded afterwards on YouTube. It's always a pleasure. Love to watch your show.
No, we appreciate your support. And Alan mentioned it up here. So some of the Rovers Chat lads, we're going to be meeting up with the Red All Over guys tomorrow. So Alan, Andy, Joe, we're going to come and say hello to you and feature you on some of our match day content as well as the Rovers fans. Look out for Andy on my video, the match day experience video, when we put that live after the 2-1 Rovers win that there will be tomorrow. But no, Andy, thanks ever so much for joining us. It's been a brilliant show as always. You've made us giggle as you always do. And Rovers fans, thank you for all of your interactions. And Danny, thank you for the super chat as well. FM Works, really appreciate that. Benjamin, yes, I am going to Blackpool, so that's in a couple of weeks. We'll see you there. Ben snuck in with a 7-0 Rovers right there.
That's what I like to see. Deluded, but it's nice to see.
There we go. And Rovers fans, we're going to have a quick turnaround because we're moving into our quick Friday night live show after this one with Andy. So please give this video a like. Go and get yourself a drink. Then come and join me, Andy Watson, and Joe Harvey is going to be on that one, Andy. So if you want to give him some stick in the comments, you absolutely can do if you want to see that one live. But yeah, look out for all of our content, Rovers fans. Ollie's going to be on the live watch along tomorrow, and we'll have the instant reaction and match day content as we always do. So Andy, big thumb up to you. Thanks for joining us, mate. Rovers fans, we will leave you with our sponsor message from 6yardsout.com. See you all later. The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.